Alrighty, this will be the People News. Okay, not attorney, not giving legal advice. Anything I say or do is just opinion, educational video. Okay, have no first-hand knowledge of what's going on over here. I'm arm length, and well, I'm watching the real news. All right, this is Harvey Freebird. All right, go check him out. He's got some awesome contents. And allegedly, if you've been behind the wheel, you know, stand on your Fifth Amendment. He's got a video out when he did this. All right, we talked about previous of the accident. Okay, and she just volunteered everything. All right, knowing knowing that she could have flunked this. Okay, so Fifth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, Fifth Amendment. Okay, invoke, invoke, invoke. All right, so this is corruption with the videos I'm in the diary of doing. Corruptions of judges, magistrates, towns, municipalities, and all that. And this is one of the municipalities' corruptions that's going on, right? So it fits in to what I'm saying. Okay, it's just not one particular place. If we don't know the basic law, people, then we don't even know if the judge are following the laws themselves, do we? And how can you be a good jury if you don't know the basic law?
Y'all enjoy it.
When somebody like Jason takes a stand, you need a leader.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who will follow,
Yeah.
but they won't step out. They won't step out until you go in and take all the fire and provide that cover.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Jason's doing.
Yeah.
And so more people now are starting to say, oh, okay, it's not just me. And when they see that it's not just them, they're more likely to stand up. And that's what's happening today. I mean, you've got an entire community here with all kinds of issues that are finally feeling empowered to stand up against these tyrants.
Yeah.
That's what's important. So if you're out there, find that strong person, find that strong voice, get behind him or her, and make yourself known, or you be that strong person, because I guarantee you there's other people behind you that are waiting for somebody to take that first step. And once you take that first step in the snow, everybody else will walk in your footsteps.
Oh, yeah.
Or fly us out there, we'll go talk for you.
There you go.
Press conference time.
All right. I'd like to thank all the regular establishment media for being here. Oh, wait. So apparently corruption at the highest levels of a municipality is not important enough for the media. We did send out an email to essentially all of the print and video journalists in the area. And of course, none of them are here. So the YouTube journalists are the ones that are getting this real news coverage. Yeah. So, wanted to talk about a few things and bring up, but I think a lot of your audience already know.
I'm going to pause right there. Hate to interrupt. By the way, if you don't want my interruption, go to Freebird. Why is there not, like the Fox News, CBS News, all these local channels, covering this corporate corruption? Right? Why is it YouTube only? And then we are getting the side effect of saying we're not real news. And here they are promoting real news without the real news there. Allegedly real news. By the way, I forgot to do this. Alright. Gotta hit the thumbs up for Freebird. Again, check him out. Awesome stuff he has.
A lot of this, and we're not going to be giving out anything that's necessarily groundbreaking. But we filed on behalf of Mr. Jason Followell, who's next to me, and y'all know who I am, CJ Grisham. This is Jason Followell. Good to meet you, sir. And I'm Mr. Followell's attorney. So we filed a civil action. The civil action is titled Jason Followell v. the City of Aransas Pass et al. And if you want to look it up on Pacer, the case number is 24-CB-00055. No audio. And it was filed in the Southern District of Texas, Corpus Christi Division. That's wrong. I guess I need to fix that. The Corpus Christi Division. And essentially we're making several allegations of fact here that, of course, we believe to be true. and in fact are true. And that is that the city of Aransas Pass, through its various elected and selected elected and selected officials have conspired to violate the rights of Mr. Followell and others, because since we filed this case, others have come forward to talk to me about not only being witnesses to corruption and tyranny here in Aransas Pass, but also with their own cases. So, several things that were alleged. Of course, this all started simply. It all started very simply with Mr. Followell complaining about certain issues at City Hall, and as a result of him trying to expose some of these issues at City Hall, code enforcement, law enforcement, the fire department all started working together to try and find ways to shut Mr. Followell up. And they did that through code violations, through code enforcement, and various other methods. For example, conducting a warrantless search of his property and obtaining a bogus warrant from a rubber stamping judge that did not contain any probable cause in it whatsoever to go into his building. The next allegation that we make, of course, are cease and desist letters. This is where the city attorney and the mayor ordered Mr. Followell to essentially.
Now, stop right there, right? The magistrates, judges, whatever you want to call them, right, ordered to issue a warrant. There's got to be 5 elements there. If one of them's missing, they cannot have that warrant issued. There's got to be 5 elements. So read your warrants in your state and the federal warrant and follow each guidelines of the warrant.
Stop talking about them. I'd stopped talking about the fact that Mr. Followell was able to uncover a fabricated will that was signed by Carrie Scruggs. And so she attempted to silence Mr. Followell by getting the attorneys to send him cease and desist orders and threatening him with legal action, which is a direct violation of the Texas Citizens Participation Act. Then we've got the city council meetings where the city council has decided that the only free speech that is authorized in Aransas Pass City Hall is speech that Mayor Ram Gomez and City Manager Gary Edwards approve of. So if they don't approve of it, then they're going to consider it a personal affront or profanity. And those are 2 quotes because that's what they put in their so-called rules of decorum.
So on that defamation, they said you let Chief Patrick's mommy go up there and defame him and everybody.
Right, it's only illegal if you go against them.
That's correct.
So we've got what's here. What we got is discrimination. It's called content-based discrimination under the law, and that's exactly what the city is engaged in. When Mr. Followell began to speak up even more loudly about what they were doing, the city actually issued a trespass against him for all city property. He was not allowed to go on any city property for no reason other than the fact that he was engaged in constitutionally protected activities under the First Amendment of seeking redress for grievances.
Well, they didn't want me to go to the library to research the fight.
And it did. It included the library. It included everything. Parks, City Hall itself, sidewalks, everything. Then there are a few other, of course, city council meetings in which Mr. Followell engaged in the protected speech of profanity, which is protected expressive speech. There are many instances of that in this lawsuit. And then finally, once the lawsuit was filed, we had to amend the lawsuit because 10 days after we filed this and served the defendants in this case, which, by the way, the defendants are the city of Aransas Pass, Mayor Ram Gomez, City Manager Gary Edwards, City Councilwoman Carrie Scruggs, City Fire Chief Eric Kelly, City Police Chief Eric Blanchard. And I think that's all of them, right? Yeah. Those are all the defendants in this case. As of yet. And so after we had them served with their lawsuit, 10 days later, they came out and charged not only Mr. Followell, with a Class A misdemeanor of hindering a government proceeding by disorderly conduct, but his attorney, me, with the exact same thing. Now, in my case, they charged me the disorderly conduct was reading case law. So the standard in Aransas Pass is that you cannot read the law to the city, or they're going to break the law and charge you with breaking the law for retaliatory conduct.
All right. Let that quander you for a minute, right? They're breaking the law, but they're going to charge you for breaking the law because they broke the law. And you called them out of breaking the law, so they're going to charge you of you breaking the law again. The arrogance that they are going after another attorney, right? Now, if I was Grisham, and if the attorney was doing this, Grisham should file a bar grievance against that attorney. Okay? I don't know if he will or won't be an attorney and all that now. He may not do it. But, that being said, I don't know. He should file a bar grievance against that attorney because, that being said, that's if the attorney filed this. Okay? The complaint could be from the officer or whatever. Sorry.
So that's the issue here. Now, I haven't sued on my behalf. I'm only suing on Mr. Followell's behalf, but rest assured, I've got 2 years to file, and I can wait. I want to make sure that Mr. Followell gets justice before I worry about myself. But they did also charge me with these same bogus retaliatory crimes, and they know that. So we've got several claims of relief, freedom of speech under the First Amendment, unlawful or unreasonable search and seizure under the Fourth Amendment, equal protection under the law under the 14th Amendment, retaliation in violation of 42 U.S.C. 1983, defamation,
Thanks, Mommy.
malicious prosecution, and then, of course, municipal liability. And again, all of this can be found online, and we are seeking a $5 million judgment because we've tried everything to avoid litigation. I tried emails, I tried coming to city council and educating them, and rather than just doing the right thing and stopping their illegal and unconstitutional conduct, they've doubled down on it. They've tried to silence Mr. Followell, and now they've silenced or tried to silence Mr. Followell in the public square, and now they're trying to silence me as his attorney in the judicial square, in the courts. Because not only has the chief filed these bogus criminal charges against us, but the chief filed a false affidavit to the Texas State Bar against me, trying to get me disbarred. Now, the State Bar threw that case out. They threw out his complaint. It was dismissed. But he did attempt to have me disbarred with a bogus, and believe me, it'll come out. It's going to come out. Complaint against me to the bar. So he's done everything he possibly can to shut up Mr. Followell, to shut me up. But Mr. Followell's a fighter. I'm a fighter. And together we're a tag team. So if there are any questions, I will, from the crowd, I don't know, Harvey, you got anything?
They'll pop up at the bottom. People ask the question.
They are,
Yeah.
I'm at Blackbird.
Hey,
Wait, don't read them out
You
loud.
covered everything pretty well, CJ.
okay.
Anybody have any questions for CJ? Put them in the chat.
So I got something for y'all guys.
Well, and then I'll leave it for Jason if you got any comments.
Yeah,
I do have something.
everybody wants to hear from you,
So
Jason.
they tried silences, but they actually went after my job. They actually got me fired. I was a global EHS director. They got me fired for the criminal trespass of the whole town, and then they also sent them Chief Blanchard's personal YouTube page and his YouTube APD page where he rented my gym, and they made me look like a bad guy even though I won that case. Since then, I got a new job. I got hired almost a month ago, but they blocked me from getting a criminal background check and refused to give it to the company. I had to get another attorney who pro bono will help me out, and she's getting that fixed. And then they actually attacked one of my friends last year that worked here in town at one of these big businesses. Carrie Shrugged and Bram's sister-in-law went up to her business and tried to get her fired for speaking out against her. Now, since then, she's been demoted, so she is now a big wig for the company, and she is coming today in about 30 minutes to actually read out what Carrie Shrugged and Bram Gomez's sister-in-law actually did to her. And again, I'm excited for her to be here. So it's going to be a good council meeting.
And I'll also add, the city right now really needs to look into what is happening here. Those people who are in positions that can make these changes, I'm talking about the rest of the city council, need to understand that as it relates to Mr. Followell, the city has a 0 batting average. A 0 batting average. They've thrown about 15 charges at him. He's beat all 15 of them. They've tried to bat. They've thrown one against me. That one was beat. So actually, I guess they're 0-16 now. And they're about to be 0-18 once we get these 2 criminal charges dealt with.
Yeah.
But how can you continue to employ a police chief who is obviously filing retaliatory charges against people, losing every single time, and then still keep him employed knowing that he's going to cost you a lot of money? It can only happen if this is acceptable to the city and this is a part of their policies and procedures and practices. And it's endorsed, which is why the city is named as a defendant in this case, because there's been absolutely 0 discipline against the chief and 0 discipline against the city manager for what they're doing. But I think that's also because the mayor, who leads the city, is also a part of the problem. But other members of the city council can do a vote of no confidence. They just won't because they approve of what's going on here. So that's where we stand, and I look forward to speaking to the city council here in about half an hour. Yes, ma'am.
So we have someone who asked, what can people do to help you the most?
Well, do you have a fundraiser?
We do have a fundraiser. I can put it in there. It's actually in a bunch of my descriptions of my community, but I'll add it to that link. And
You
then
have people all over the world. You have people in Canada, people in Wisconsin.
yeah, it's getting bigger and bigger, which is
Yeah.
good. So, but they also need to go stand up in their own towns and do the same thing.
Iowa.
People are seeing this all over the world.
Yeah, and I'm doing this at cost. I'm not charging Mr. Followell for my time. It is a 4-hour one-way trip to come down here. So that means every time I come down here, it's an 8 hours out of my day to defend this case. So obviously, if you want to kind of donate just to help with those expenses,
Put them both up.
yeah, I mean, I
Put them both up.
$sign
There's
CJ Grissom.
another one. Is there a backstory posted online for those new to see in the case?
Yeah, so I think we kind of went over the backstory, but just really quickly, how did it start? What was the first thing that brought you to the city council's attention?
Sure. So they came on my property, went in behind one of my members and did an inspection on my property without me being on site nor a manager on site. And then I found out about it 3 hours later. So they broke into my property. And then when I called them on it, they said they do it to everybody in town. And I said, that's not right. Who's your boss? Their boss, of course, is Chief Kelly, the fire marshal. I got a hold of him, emailed him, talked to him, and he said he is a patriot and for the Constitution. He'll get back to me in an hour with some discipline. And in 1 hour, he wrote me back and said, my department can do whatever they want, come on your property whenever they want to, because our charter and code say so. And I wrote him back and said, codes do not trump the Constitution. Got mad at him, started going to council meetings, and I guess for about 6 weeks, like nice, asking them to help me, and instead of helping me, they started taking away more rights. Actually searched my property 4 more times, 2 other times without a warrant. And then you're only supposed to do an inspection every 2 years, by the way, guys. So they did it 5 times in 3 months. And just kept bullying me and harassing me, and then somebody started criminally trespassing me because they got tired of me coming up here, and it's just been a roller coaster ride ever since.
And that's the true mark of a tyrant is when you're caught doing something wrong, instead of just admitting the mistake, you double down on it. That is the definition of tyranny, and that's what happened with Mr. Followell. They made one mistake, they could have just apologized for it and moved on, but instead they just kept going and going until they found something they could find.
Yep.
But unfortunately, they did it through illegal means.
Yep.
So that's the fruit of the poisonous tree. Can't use it.
All right, so that's closest enough to the end if you want to hear the rest of it and without my interruptions. Harvey Freebird, check out his YouTube, right? This is every town. City ordinances and all that is a bypass, okay? They call it a bylaw. Well, when you really just sit and think about the words, it's a bypass the law, right? It's bypassing the Constitution. They seem to think they're allowed to say you're not allowed to wear a purple shirt and it's city ordinance. Well, that's a violation of your rights, right? But because they say it's their law, then it's a law. Well, it's not. It cannot contradict the state constitution, cannot contradict the federal constitution, and hence is the reason why the lawsuits, part of it, is the First Amendment, because it cannot contradict the federal constitution. We've just gotten so used to complying with everything and say, oh, it's a city ordinance, so we must obey. No, read it, understand it, and see how does it apply to you. Okay, we gotten lazy. Again, if you don't know the basic law, then you don't know your basic right. If you don't know the basic law, then you cannot be a basic good jury. If you don't know the basic law, then you don't know about the police breaking your basic rights. If you don't know the basic law, then you don't know if the judge is operating in good honor or bad honor. Okay? We got to know our basic at minimum to actually be within reason of peaceful society. Okay? This is We the People News. Bye, y'all.